All right, well, we got to turn our attentions to Monday Night Raw, everybody. And it was another interesting episode. We saw some advancements and some things that are still stagnant, I guess, going on in the storylines across the board. But overall, it was entertaining. It held my interest. And of course, they saved the best for last. And that's where we're going to start, because Roman Reigns was back, not just in person and doing things in the ring, but he was back on the mic, everybody.
Oh, nice.
And we got the announcement early in the day that he was going to be addressing, personally, Paul Heyman, his former wise man, his former, I guess, mentor, someone that he was aligned with previously when it comes to wrestling and factions and different things like that. So now we haven't heard from Roman Reigns at all that I can remember since WrestleMania. And
3 months.
That was the time when Paul Heyman crossed him and aligned himself with Seth freaking Rollins. So yeah, here we are. Flash forward almost 3 months later. We went from
a long time.
April to May, May to June, and June to July. Like, the OTC has been MIA. And he is now back.
To his defense, he was filming a movie.
Yes.
The Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we know this, but do the wrestling storylines acknowledge this? I mean, it's interesting, right? We saw Cena kind of play the I've been filming a movie card and I'm tired.
Yeah, exhausted.
But we haven't seen, like, OTC didn't really say what he was up to other than to say that he's been with his family. And that's what kind of led into his line of dialogue with Paul Heyman personally, was like, you know, I was mistaken basically for aligning myself with you because you're not my family. You're not blood, you know. And,
you're not bloodline related.
And
okay.
That was a mistake in a way. So that's the angle it seems like they're taking up with Roman Reigns, at least with regard to Paul Heyman. So I don't know if they're going to stay in this prolonged feud right now, because, and we just really don't know with the timing of it all, what is the real play here. This OTC came back, 2 days after Seth Rollins' knee injury. Then we had Seth Rollins address the knee injury on the Rich Eisen show when he was guest hosting last week. And now we see him again getting into it with Paul Heyman. Is this all happening sort of on the fly as a sort of replacement story for what was supposed to be happening with Seth Rollins right now? Or was this what was supposed to happen all along? You know, I do want to point out Roman Reigns was on the SummerSlam poster when that came out. He's on the Survivor Series poster. I know it's just marketing material and they can do whatever they want with it, but it does seem like they had somewhat of an idea of who some of the people involved are going to be, because everyone that's on that initial SummerSlam poster is involved in something right now.
Well, they can't be too wrong about posting who is going to be in the SummerSlam. If you advertise certain players, they have to be there.
It almost feels like false advertising, right?
Right. They can't just be like, well, we just put whoever and then give you a totally different group.
I'm sure it's happened, though. I mean, it's promotional material. It's like Star Wars had movie footage in their trailers that never wound up in the actual movie. Is that false advertising?
No, because the actors are the same. We're not talking about storylines changing. We're talking about people. If they put Harrison Ford on the cover and somebody else that's not Harrison Ford shows up, would you be disappointed?
I don't know. Well, either way, OTC came down to the ring, and I want to get into the wrestling.
Right.
I mean, I just feel like we'll get into it.
Let's go.
So OTC came down to the ring, and you can see here everyone's kind of doing the old rubbing of the chins here, except for Paul Heyman. He's holding his nose, I guess. Just an odd freeze frame, to be honest. 136, if you see on the time code in the lower left-hand corner. But we have OTC addressing the man to his face, and everyone's kind of getting along for a while, but it all escalated to hell in a handbasket quickly. And you can see the headlines for Raw on this day, where Roman Reigns receives backup from Jey Uso against Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. I did a little history homework because, you know, we just started watching wrestling during the Royal Rumble this year, and it does appear that Jey Uso and OTC did wrestle for the Tribal Chief title in 2023. Let me know if I'm correct about that, folks. Don't want to have misinformation on the Kanika Sports Show, but it would be an honest mistake if it was. I'm just seeing this here. Is this a family line kind of thing that Roman Reigns was hinting at? Is this an alliance that we're going to see in the future? I think we've even speculated Roman Reigns would align with Jey Uso and then possibly Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu
against Solo Sikoa.
Against Solo Sikoa and his faction. I wonder if we're seeing somewhat of the beginnings of that happening. That would be at Survivor Series. It seems like in the meantime, these two might be feuding with Paul Heyman's henchmen in Seth Rollins' absence.
Potentially, sure.
And you can see on the final slide here, Roman Reigns received backup from Jey Uso, and they got those spears coincided almost exactly at the same time. Nika, how good are they for that? That's like synchronized swimming in the WWE ring, right? But either way, now I got to ask you a funny question here. Do you think we see Jey Uso spearing Bron Breakker here, and Roman Reigns is giving the spear to Bronson Reed? Now, do you think that they could still achieve the same thing if they were flipped? If Jey Uso had to spear Bronson Reed, I know Roman Reigns could spear Bron Breakker, but I'm saying because of the size difference between Jey Uso and Bronson Reed, do you think Jey Uso is capable of landing the spear on Bronson Reed in a believable way?
No, I think this was done on purpose because of the body type and how it fits better.
It does fit a little bit better. Well, either way,
I mean, they could potentially. It's wrestling. It's scripted, so they could make it.
Oh yeah, just like
But
Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant once upon a time when it looked like an insurmountable feat.
Exactly.
Like we're here to sell illusion and magic in a way that these things are actually happening.
But this sells better.
It does sell better. I think they made the right choice. But I did notice that, and I was like, I wonder if the roles were reversed. Anyways, fun stuff from these four in the final moments of Raw, and it just left me with one question, Nika, that I thought we should get into really quick. With regards to this playing out and Seth Rollins, do you feel like everything that's happened so far makes the Seth Rollins injury more legitimate or less legitimate? That it's all a work and a work of fiction, if you will, or do you think he's actually injured and they're not sure what to necessarily do yet?
I think it's all work.
Really?
I do. The more I think about it, it feels more as a work. That this was premeditated, scripted. Maybe there was an injury that they just played it up a little bit more, but I think it was all scripted.
Yes. Boy, oh boy, it's tough for me because some of this feels cobbled together right now, but at the same time, when the funnel is done funneling here, by my math right now, there's 9 matches for SummerSlam. There are 5 men's matches and 4 women's matches that have been officially confirmed and announced. And these 4 are absent from that. And yet they're some of the biggest names in the business, especially Jey Uso and Roman Reigns right now. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker could be looked at as like next tier, but they're not no names either. And it just feels like this faction of evil is going to be headed to a 2-way tag team matchup here at SummerSlam because there's not a lot of storylines and matches left for them to get involved with.
So you think they're going to have a tag team between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and fighting the other faction, Breakker and Bronson Reed?
I do.
Okay,
yeah.
I buy that. That's a good tag team. It's more of no names that are going to be involved.
Yeah, and I think it's an opportunity to at least, not have this drag on. And like I said, I do kind of expect that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso will sort of drift towards the Solo Sikoa storyline and that faction of the bloodlines. But until then, they got to kind of resolve this issue with Paul Heyman. And I think that's basically what this match is looking like to me. That's where it looks like we're at.
Yeah. Do you think that's because of the injury that Seth Rollins is portraying? Or?
You know, the more I think about it, I don't. I feel like I'm with you. Whatever's happening right now was meant to happen because it's like, where are they going to fit on that card?
Right.
You know, it wasn't going to be Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins right now at SummerSlam. It just wasn't. So, and in a way, putting Rollins out of the picture, it's interesting. You know, he could even, I wouldn't put it past him to really even be hurt and somehow figure out a way to like get a 3 count on somebody and get the belt and still be injured.
But I think it's all scripted at this point.
It does feel like there's something
work.
more going on here because, like I said, a lot of the matches that we're getting at SummerSlam were already ordained and predetermined. You know, I guess the Gauntlet was last week, so we didn't have a lot of resolution on where these players were going to end up. But I do feel strongly that it was always meant to be CM Punk against Gunther, and we've heard that that's where maybe Seth was going to cash in, and
potentially
without putting him in his own match to take the limelight away from cashing in, much like Naomi kind of did at Evolution. She had the no holds barred match with Jade, and we kind of forgot about her because she left battered and bloodied in the ring. So you don't have that luxury with Seth Rollins, but you do have the injury to make people kind of forget about him. And so I will say if for some reason that matchup is like the final card on Saturday or Sunday, I think there's a strong possibility Seth shows up.
Okay. It makes sense because they put a lot of emphasis. He's got a year to cash in. He's got to be in the WrestleMania next year.
I want him to come down in crutches and then like start walking like Kaiser Soze does at the end of The Usual Suspects. Like it was all a ruse.
Can he use the crutches as his weapons?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
they make special WWE certified crutches. You know, they're able to withstand the test of the ring.
All right.
Deal
let's
out
go.
real punishment.
All right.
All right. So good chat there. And it's funny how all of this is tied into Seth Rollins still. A lot of it. Okay. Well, speaking of CM Punk and Gunther, they had a little promo to kick off Raw last night.
Nice.
And, you know, I was mostly curious to see how this would play because we don't have a lot of history here between these two. They've never had a one-on-one matchup in the light of day. They have had dark matches, which are matches that are non-televised.
But they never had a exposed feud.
They've never had this feud between themselves, at least on television, and that involves microphones, and that involves promos, as Nika calls them, when the two come out and just trade insults with each other inside the ring. Basically the equivalent of grown men dishing out your mama jokes.
Pretty much.
Nevertheless, Gunther acting very smug and arrogant, cocky as champion here, and CM Punk, you know, playing the hero still as he is right now. He's a complete face with the fans. Everyone's into him, including me and Nika here over on the Kanika Sports Show. And I'm heavily rooting for CM Punk to win in this matchup. I just feel like Gunther doesn't do a lot for me as champ. You know, I get that he's technically
the best,
whatever
right now.
he wants to call himself. Yeah, he's got good technical wrestling skills, and yet I get bored with him quickly, I guess. You know, it's not an insult. I just wish he was a little bit more dimensional.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a 3D.
Whether he's insulting Bill Goldberg or CM Punk, it kind of sounds like a broken record. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to manhandle you. I'm going to break you, whatever. Yeah, Uso, same thing with their feud. And so I would he's a good villainous character, but I think he's served his role here. And, well, we'll wait and save our predictions for a future date, but I'm smelling a CM Punk SummerSlam victory here for the fans. You know, this would be true fan service. And, you know, John Cena's retiring, of course. We don't know how many more laps around the squared circle that CM Punk's going to be able to take either.
That's true.
So it would be nice to see him have a little mini title run, maybe even, who knows, up to WrestleMania. Or will Seth steal the belt from him right away and ignite a new feud that will carry us through to WrestleMania? Either way, I would be here for both of them. CM Punk and Seth Rollins are like destined to do battle together. I feel
You think
like.
so, huh?
Yeah. I feel like they are on a
It's in the cards somewhere.
heavy collision course. And
That'll be very interesting whether he scoops up the belt at the end of the fight.
it will be, and I could totally see this going that way. Like I said earlier, Seth coming down in crutches at the end of the match or something. Both of these men exhausted, CM Punk victorious, but
actually,
enduring punishment from maybe a sleeper, or maybe Gunther gets mad and puts the sleeper on him or something and leaves him in the ring, and then Seth's music hits, and who knows? Much could happen. It's exciting.
It is exciting, and the fight can be undecided either. Just like in Evolution between the women, it was undecided who won.
That was fun the way they did it, and maybe something similar will happen here, where Seth Rollins will take out both of these guys, both Gunther and CM Punk, and it'll allow him to have a little mini feud with Gunther too,
right, and
where Gunther would be like, "You screwed me over," and Seth Rollins could be like, "Ha ha ha, I did," something,
right.
whatever.
And the same thing with CM Punk.
Exactly, yeah. So they can have all can have issue with each other for a while, and that makes more drama, and that's more eyeballs and more viewership on the product.
And CM Punk gets screwed again.
More Seth Rollins talk. Man, we can't escape the guy no matter which segment we're on tonight. Look, I think we can finally move on from Seth because it was also added last night in the locker room, Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. This is the first time that we've had a television matchup between these two that I'm aware of.
Stephanie's new, so she probably didn't wrestle with a lot of the women on the wall.
Stephanie made it sound like, though, that she's going to be taking a stab at the Women's World Championship in Paris, and that if Io Sky was the winner, that they would have to face each other. And Io Sky sort of said, why not tonight? In Houston, Texas, these two got it on, and they weren't really even the story of the match, if you want to be honest. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer ended in a no contest, and there was a lot of extracurricular activity happening to break down in the middle of all this. So I want to start with the pictured ladies here, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Io Sky. The way this match ended was we had first Chelsea Green and the Hervice were coming down to interfere with Stephanie Vaquer. They have some bad blood brewing between those ladies. I think that dates back to the Nikki Bella matchup. And with the Hervice, and so this has been brewing a little bit, and so they have issue with each other. More on that in 1 second. The three women here, though, are set to meet in SummerSlam: Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Io Sky. And here we saw Naomi give a little bit of a beatdown from behind on Io Sky at the end of her match, and this was after I think Chelsea Green had sort of interfered on behalf of the Hervice, and just the match was over. So
it turned to a brawl, basically.
It basically turned into a brawl. And then Naomi came in and took advantage. She put a little beat down on Io Sky, which cued the music for Rhea Ripley to come down. And she has such iconic music. It was great. No foot stomp this time. It was more of a sprint to the ring, and Mama
rescue.
Was mad.
Oh, yeah.
You can see her there. She's
pissed.
She's pissed. She's got some arms. Looking
does.
good. Rhea Ripley putting it on for the Monday Night Raw crowd. And so this kind of just ended with Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer all standing in the ring together. But Naomi was given a little bit of a beatdown by Rhea Ripley here. And does that make you more or less confident that Naomi's going to retain at SummerSlam? Because I know you are wanting Naomi to retain at SummerSlam, and this isn't necessarily an official prediction, more just to say, we try to keep track of who has the last laugh, you know. It feels like before the match, you know, and I fully expect Naomi to kind of walk out champion.
Me too. It will be too short of a lifespan of the belt that she holds on right now.
Yeah, it wouldn't be enough of a payoff for the devious nature in which she cashed in. And
yeah, and she's such a good heel at the moment.
Oh yeah, she is. And so yeah, we'll have to wait and see who she's going to feud with. You know, Naomi, we kind of missed this, officially announced that she is moving to Monday Night Raw from SmackDown. And so Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, all on the Raw program regularly. So it's a chance to spice things up a little bit. I'm actually really excited she moved programs because a lot of what was going on with even her and Jade was getting stale and long-winded a little bit. And so I'm not saying there's not anything left in the tank there, but Jade's got her own match now with Tiffany and her own thing going on. And, you know, we don't know really where Bianca Belair is going to land once she's ready and healthy to wrestle.
Right. And I think they tried to spice things up on Raw by bringing new people. And this whole brawl, as we call it, was more of a showcase. All 5 women, how well they work together.
Absolutely. And now you have a women's champion on SmackDown with Tiffy, and you have a women's champion on Raw with Naomi, so it's not as unbalanced. And that alone leads me to believe that at least, if not Naomi, someone from Raw is going to have the women's world championship for a little bit of a run here. And why not Naomi? She's great on the mic. She'll get exposure to a new set of women to have feuds with here on a different show, different brand. And, you know, I'm here for it. Yeah. Naomi's been one of the most favorite characters to follow. If you're not following Trinity Fatu herself on X, you're missing out on a gold mine of comedy day after day after day. So make sure you're doing that, especially if you're stressed out or anything like that, because it's sure to make you laugh and forget about life for a second. So
nice.
All right. Well, we only had one other match of note that I saw last night, and that was this tag match between Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, and the, I guess, surprise duo of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, who are they friends? Are they not friends? Are they feuding? I don't really know what's going on with them, but for at least last night, they agreed to bury the hatchet and give the women's world championship a go, and they were unsuccessful.
Oh, shocker.
Now, before this matchup, we did have Becky Lynch come down and address Lyra Valkyria face to face, and, you know, Becky was basically saying what we've been saying for weeks, like, I want this to be over. And we want this to be over too, Becky, just for the record, because this feud is more stale than bread. We've had this conversation before, but here we are, and it's still Bayley and Lyra and Becky are all involved. And nevertheless, they did agree to make the SummerSlam matchup, I guess, the final matchup between them, and it's also going to now be a no disqualification matchup. So that is happening. But last night, Bayley and Lyra were unsuccessful in capturing those tag team championship belts, and no real surprise here, right? Because, I mean, we fully expected them to lose the belts to Charlotte and Alexa at SummerSlam.
Blissful Flair, as we called them.
The Blissful Flair is in line to win those titles, not Bayley and Lyra. So
yeah, that's a match. I mean, so that's a tag team of convenience for just that.
There's a lot of tag teams of convenience right now, but at the same time, I'm just rolling with it a little bit. It's fun to watch, and I think the way Roxanne has sort of inserted herself into this whole storyline seamlessly, and you know, we were speculating about Seth's injury so much earlier. The one thing that's not speculated at all by anybody in the industry is the nature of Liv Morgan's injury being like a 6-month thing. That she's going to be out probably until around Royal Rumble.
Probably.
So this is different than that situation where, you know, she kind of had to roll with the punches, become Raquel's teammate here, and she's done a great job. You know, she's played a nice villainous role here throughout Night of Champions and
she's a good
now
heel.
leading into SummerSlam. So, of course, they are the part of Judgment Day, and Dominic Mysterio was down at ringside for this matchup. He was giving Adam, what's his name?
AJ Styles.
No. Adam Pearce. Sorry. He was
Sorry.
giving Adam Pearce the runaround earlier in the show about getting a physical. He is trying to avoid getting cleared to wrestle AJ Styles, of course, as we all know. His excuse, though, was that he needed to accompany Roxanne and Raquel down to ringside. And if he of course, got involved in their matchup. And sure enough, he also wound up getting kicked in the ribs in the middle of this. And this is one of the funnier bits that's going on WWE period right now. when medical staff came down to ringside to check on Dominic Mysterio, who was holding his ribs after getting involved, it was AJ Styles in disguise, and he was greeting him, and it's funny. Either way, it does feel like I might have missed this somewhere, or I don't remember when it was actually made official. But Dominic Mysterio will defend the Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles at SummerSlam. So that is now officially added to the card. And yeah, like I said, we got 5 men's matches now and 4 women's matches. I don't think we have a good card of it, but I will also say I feel like there's an opportunity for Stephanie Vaquer to get a match added with maybe Chelsea Green. And then we talked about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso getting added to do battle with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. So that would make 11 matches. And if you look at the fact that it's 2 nights, it's starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, so a little bit earlier. We could be doing 3.5, 4-hour shows, maybe 5 to 6 matches a night, it sounds like, based on my math. Let me know if I'm right about that. But it looks like we're looking towards about a 12 match over the 2 nights split up. And they're all going to be of consequence. They're all going to have some heavy stakes on the line. So buckle up, folks. Right. SummerSlam is upon us, and we're excited.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you saw last night that we missed?
I don't think so. We went over, there was a few other matches, but they are not as impactful for SummerSlam as
doesn't feel like it right now. I know Nika and I are really bad with the tag team division right now in the men's area, both on SmackDown and on Raw. I don't mean this in an insulting way, but it hasn't grabbed us, you know? And
yeah. I think it's the story.
I don't know if it's the storylines or the teams or a little bit of both, but the women's division is doing the right thing, I think, by taking stars like Charlotte and Alexa and turning them into viable teams for a minute. And I do think they might get a title run as a kind of hybrid offshoot team. Why not? And that's what Roxanne and Raquel are, and they've been kind of evil champions for their reign.
Yeah, so we will have to wait and see how this all pans out at the end of the SummerSlam.
Yeah, we will. And SummerSlam now it is coming up on us quick. 10 days by my count here.